Okay, we'll go ahead and go through a few examples here. Multiplying monomials. Mon means one, so that's one term. Okay. Remember, polynomial has variables in it, one or more variables, and the exponents must be positive when they're in the numerator. Okay. All right. So it says find the measure of the area. We know area of a rectangle is length times width, or base times the height. You should know both of those. Okay, base and height are at 9-degree angles. So base and height, multiply those two together. E to the 5th times E squared is E to the 7th. Excuse me. Okay. So, as you see right there, when I multiply like bases, E is called a base. Whatever that variable is, those are called bases. For those I forgot. And these are called your exponents. And some people will say powers. Okay. When you multiply, the dot means multiply, like bases, E and E are like bases, we add the exponents. So that's why 5 plus 2 is 7. Longhand would be E times E times E times E. That's 4, 5. So that's E to the 5th times E squared. And so now how many total E's do I have? 7. Okay. But you should already know that from prior math that you add your exponents when you multiply like bases. Let's go ahead and let's do one right here. I multiply the numbers together, constants or coefficients, -6. How many C's do I have? 2 plus 1 is 3. And how many D's do I have? Only 4. There's nothing in the other. So there's my answer. Rather than multiply the coefficients out front and then add the exponents. Squared, don't forget that means multiply by itself. So if you have to, you could write out 2e over 3 again, and then get rid of that and multiply straight across. I get 4e squared over 9. Okay, so there's my answer. What I'm really doing is, if I go back and leave that squared in there, I'm taking this 2 and distributing it to everything inside. So 2 squared is 4. E to the first squared. When you have a power to power, you multiply your exponents. So 1 times 2 is 2. And then 3 squared is 9. Okay, so hopefully you've been taught that before. If not, you can always write it out squared right next to there and multiply across. Here, we have to remember PEMDAS. Okay, order of operations. Going down. Okay, so exponents come first. So notice I have this 5 here. I have to distribute this 5 through this first. I don't multiply 4 times -2 and then that, and then multiply all that to the 5th power afterwards. I have to go in order of operations, PEMDAS, going down. So here I have 4g cubed h, and this would be -2 to the 5th is -32, and then that's distributed that, and then distributed to the g is g to the 5th. So now I go ahead and multiply those, and I get -128 for the numbers, and then g to the 8th, because I add my exponents, and I have an h there. And there would be that answer. Okay, so that covers any of the types that you'd have on this page. Well, a fraction. Don't forget we're dealing with one with the fraction. You can negative times negative is a positive. This 6 will cancel with the 18 3 times. Cross cancel. It's not cross multiply. You do that with solving proportions. Cross canceling is what it's called. Now I go ahead and multiply straight across, so I get 3 How many m's do I have? Total of 2. How many n's do I have? Total of 6. Okay, and there's your answer. All right, backside now. Dividing monomials. When we divide, so don't forget, negative, to change an exponent from a negative to a positive, you switch its location from numerator to denominator or from denominator to numerator. Since it's in the denominator, it moves up to the numerator, and this is actually x to the fourth. 1 times x to the fourth is x to the fourth. Okay? When they're already here, I'm dividing, I just subtract down 1 minus 3. I think that's a 3. I can't even, I can't even tell if that's m cubed or m squared on number 3 here. We'll say it's a 3. If you can read it better, okay. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. So I can write this as m to negative 2, but I want to always practice writing, assume that no denominator is equal to 0. The reason they say that is because you cannot divide by 0. It's undefined, just so you know that. But going back up here. Cannot divide by 0. It's undefined. All right, so m to negative 2, to make that positive, since it's in the numerator now, I would drop it down to the denominator and make it positive. Notice that took me 2 steps to do that. So here's what I recommend that you do instead, and this is what I do. This is what I just did there would be the way how the book would usually teach you, any book, and a lot of teachers will do this. But how I teach it is I just ask myself, where do I have more m's? Numerator or denominator? In the denominator. So I already know the answer is in the denominator. How many more do I have? I have 3 in the denominator, 1 in the numerator. How many more is in the denominator? 2. And I'm done right there. Okay? So when I'm talking about division, I'm always asking how many more, because remember how many more it deals with subtraction. Okay, but I can go right to the final answer doing it this way instead. All right, let's take a look at, for example, let's go with 15. Okay, 16 divided by 8 is 2. X squared cancel out. And over negative y cubed, negative y to the cube would be negative y cubed. Okay? That's not y to the negative 3, which you move it up to the numerator. It's different. Negative y times negative y times negative y is negative y cubed. So that negative sign there, that negative you can move up to the numerator. And then I have 4 y's in the numerator, 3 in the denominator. Where do I have more? In the numerator. How many more do I have? 1 more. So you just say negative y or negative y to the first. Okay? Let's see one down here. Anything tricky down here at all to look at? Nothing. All right, then I'll go ahead and end it.